John Andrews Farmhouse restaurant in South Egremont was named one of the world's 25 best farmstead experiences by thedailymeal.com. Chef owner Dan Smith is here with a fresh, unique recipe for ricotta gnocchi with butternut squash and sage brown butter sauce. Dan, my mouth is watering. It's so excited that you're here. Now, there's a lot of steps to this recipe.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to start with the ricotta. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what's the first step to making ricotta?
We use local milk and local heavy cream.
Okay. Now, you make your own ricotta, but if I were to attempt to make this at home, I'm not quite sure that I would be successful.
But
But
you can definitely use commercial ricotta.
Okay. So you're using the entire half gallon of milk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's local. Now, what you're all about at your restaurant is using farm fresh local ingredients.
Correct. And I've been doing it for, actually, we've been doing it for 23 years.
23 years. So you opened in 1990, and 23 years later, you're still doing farm to table, and you're one of the first to start doing that too. All right, so then you added some cream and vinegar.
Correct. And
Okay.
we're going to slowly bring this up to just under a simmer and hold it at that temperature for 5 minutes until it curdles and forms the curd ricotta.
And that is what you have over there, is that right?
Correct.
Right. Okay. No, so this is like the beginning step, and then once it's curdled, it looks like that in that pot. Okay.
So this is, I started this earlier. You can actually see it's starting to form.
Yeah.
It's not quite there yet. but
How long until it will be there, would you say?
I would say just a couple more minutes.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
All right. So now once that is at its final stage, is it then in this form after it's chilled?
Correct.
Wow.
We actually, we let it drain through cheesecloth.
Yep.
You can do it up to 4 hours, or at least 4 hours, but overnight is better. The less moisture in the ricotta, you can add, therefore you add less flour and it becomes lighter.
Right. So you want it to have no moisture in it. That's
Yeah.
why you use the cheesecloth. Okay. So then you're just breaking that up.
Yeah, we're going to, actually, I've been using rice flour so that it's gluten-free.
And a lot of people are eating gluten-free these days.
Yeah.
So.
A little bit of salt.
Okay. And you're just kind of eyeballing it. You know exactly how much it needs. Now, are you actually making the gnocchi right now?
Yeah.
This is the process. Okay, now you're adding, is that Parmesan?
Parmesan.
All right.
And the egg yolks.
Just the yolks, 3 of them.
And we're going to mix this.
Mix it all up.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about John Andrews Farmhouse Restaurant. Now, you've been in business, you've been there for 23 years, and you actually have a garden on the premises as well, but you are all about supporting the local farmers in the area. Why is it so important to you, Dan?
Well, the first one is actually quality of the product. It's far superior than what you can get other places, but also it helps the local economy. And then even on a deeper level, it preserves open spaces, and it's good for the ecosystem also.
Yes, and I mean, I definitely agree with you with that. The quality, the taste, I mean, it does make such a difference when you're using that fresh local ingredients. It really does. And the restaurant looks beautiful. We have pictures and actually some video as well of the restaurant, and it just definitely does have that New England feel. And I know that the Berkshires has a really unique culinary cuisine specific to the Berkshires.
Yeah, there's a large number of great local chefs in the Berkshires. They all have their own unique expertise.
Yeah.
But there's a common thread between all of us that I think we share the same philosophy of using local products. So the Berkshire has begun creating its own, has developed its own cuisine. Obviously, we rely on the local products. It becomes,
It's what the Berkshires all, well,
Yeah.
it's nice to know when you go to the Berkshires, it's going to be all fresh and local, and that's what you're all about. All right, so now back to the recipe. So then you're mixing up all those ingredients all together.
And we're going to add the parsley and...
Parsley and, is this green onions?
Chives.
Chives. You should know. All right, and these are obviously, I would guess, farm fresh too.
This is actually coming from outside the area right now, but it is organic.
Because it's not, organic,
Yeah.
yep.
Our growing season for most of the produce has stopped, even though we are still getting pears and apples, winter root vegetables and such.
You're doing everything you can to keep it local, even though it is this season. All right.
Butternut squash is still coming from a local farm.
Now, what's on your menu right now at John Andrews Farmhouse Restaurant?
This ricotta gnocchi is on the menu. We just changed it within the last few days. Instead of using local cherry tomatoes and Swiss chard, we went to using local butternut squash. So this will be on the menu for a while.
Good. So if I'm not very good at making this, then I can just come to your restaurant and have it. Well, that's
Absolutely.
Good to know. All right, so you're mixing that all up. You don't have to use your hands. You can use a utensil?
Yeah, you can use it. We're going to knead it a little bit after I mix it.
Oh, you are? Okay. You're just getting it all mixed.
Yeah.
All right.
You can also use a KitchenAid.
Right.
Or a mixer.
That always makes it easy too, right?
Yeah. And also I'm going to dice up some butternut squash and roast that.
Wonderful. So now, what do you love about cooking, Dan? I mean, you've been doing it for a very, very long time, and you've been to a lot of places.
Well, but part of it is it's a creative outlet for us. For me, I've actually enjoyed cooking for a long time. I grew up on a farm in Iowa and actually studied agriculture, but found my passion in college was actually cooking. So.
Really? That's so interesting. So you grew up on a farm and you're still keeping with your roots, but it's not just about the food, it's a passion for the actual art form, which I think is wonderful. And people will know that when they're enjoying your food, that it's not just about cooking it, but the process that goes into it. All right, so you're just cubing that. So basically, once you mix all of this together, the ricotta gnocchi, you're going to knead that. Now you're chopping up dicing the butternut squash. Okay, and now we will check back in because I know that there's a couple other steps we need to go through, but we'll check back in to finish up the recipe. And if people would love to come and enjoy this recipe at the restaurant and not make it at home, how can they get more information, Dan?
It's going to be on the website, the recipe.
Well, yes, the recipe will be on our website, but people can go to your website, jarestaurant.com. All right, and then in just a bit, we'll finish up this recipe. It smells great in here.
Great.
I can't wait to try it. Thanks so much, Dan.
Thank you.
Coming up, we are back with chef owner Dan Smith from John Andrews Farmhouse Restaurant in South Egremont. We're finishing up this recipe for ricotta gnocchi with butternut squash and sage brown butter sauce. Did I say everything right, Dan?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. So this is the ricotta gnocchi mixture. What you did is you kneaded it, right? And then you just chopped it up into these pieces.
Correct.
Okay. Now, of course, we like to say this all the time, the magic of TV. You have some that are boiling right now. So once they're in this form, you put them in boiling water just to cook.
It takes about a couple minutes until they come to float on the surface of the water.
Okay.
And then we're just going to add it to the roasted butternut squash.
And what did you do earlier? We left off. You had just diced it. You put it in the oven for how long?
It takes if you're using your oven, you can roast it. Takes approximately a half hour. We just add a little bit of olive oil, a touch of water, and salt.
Okay.
You also can do it on top of the stove if you want.
Oh, okay.
It.
And then you're just going to add the gnocchi right to that mixture. Now let's talk about that sage brown butter sauce, right? So that's, I'm guessing, butter and sage, right?
We takes about a half pound of butter and maybe 24 sage leaves, and it takes about 5 minutes in a pan until it browns, gets a nutty flavor. It fries the sage at the same
good. Oh, you
time.
just put the whole leaf in there. All right. While that's cooking up, tell me about what's on the menu right now. If people go to the restaurant, what can they expect to see some of the highlights?
Actually, year-round we use local lamb, Lila Burley's local lamb. Buy the whole animal and use different cuts. So it varies between like loin, grilled leg of lamb, roast or braised shoulder. So that's always on our menu in different forms. We have Hudson Valley duck, which we serve two ways, seared duck breast and duck confit, and then diaper scallops, which one of the local purveyors picks up in New York on a weekly basis.
Wow, so fresh. I mean, everything is fresh, but local, trying to keep it as local as possible even during the off season. And right now we're looking at some photos. Oh, there's the scallops, and that looks like maybe that's the lamb, and it just looks amazing. And it looks like the restaurant is just so quaint and cozy as well, with a fireplace and just nice and cozy.
It's very cozy. It's great in wintertime. Also in the spring or year-round, we have 2 different rooms. One looks over our flower garden.
Oh, so it's romantic.
Yes, it was first. It was on Farmstead, and it was changed into a restaurant in '81. So has a great setting.
It just looks it, and we're able to see that right now. And the Berkshires is a wonderful place, like you said. It's that unique culinary experience in the Berkshires where everything is local. Now, this recipe is done. You've plated it. You have the gnocchi. It's a mouthful. Ricotta gnocchi, right, with butternut squash and sage brown butter sauce in the dish, and this is on the menu right now.
Correct.
I have to be honest, I wouldn't attempt to make it. I need to take a trip up to South Egremont and order it off the menu.
It's actually not as daunting as you think, but you should come out and try it.
Come out and try it, and it's not a far drive, and the Berkshires are beautiful.
The Berkshires are a really great place to visit.
So much to do and see, and people can visit your website for more information or also give you a call. So nice to be with you. Dan, thank you so much for sharing this recipe.
Thank you.
It looks absolutely amazing, and I will get to try a bite.
Yes.
Right? Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And to make a reservation, you can call 413-528-3469. And for a copy of their menu, you can visit their website, jarestaurant.com.